There's no federal law that says speaker program dinners must be modest. No statute that defines the exact rules for invitation lists. No FDA regulation that specifies when a venue is acceptable. What there is, the PhRMA Code, the Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America Voluntary Code, updated most recently in 2019. Adopted by nearly every major pharmaceutical company. Voluntary, and yet not really optional. Here's why the PhRMA Code has teeth even without legal authority: OIG scrutiny. The Office of Inspector General uses the PhRMA Code as a benchmark when evaluating whether pharma company conduct runs afoul of the anti-kickback statute. A company that follows the code has a stronger argument that its speaker programs have an educational, not commercial, purpose. A company that doesn't follow it has a much harder argument. Corporate integrity agreements. Companies that settle with DOJ or OIG are often required to implement PhRMA Code compliance as a formal condition of the settlement. For companies under a CIA, the code becomes legally binding. The specific rules reps need to know. Meals must be modest and provided in connection with a genuine educational purpose. Entertainment may not be provided. No gifts of personal benefit. Speaker fees must reflect fair market value. Attendees must be healthcare professionals. Educational venues, not resorts or entertainment facilities. The PhRMA Code doesn't cover everything. State gift laws vary significantly and can be stricter. Company internal policies are often stricter still. The code is the floor, not the ceiling. PhRMA Code, 2019. The Voluntary Self-Regulatory Code, published by the Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America, the primary industry standard governing interactions between pharmaceutical company personnel and healthcare professionals in the U.S., including speaker programs, meals, gifts, and consultant arrangements. Voluntary compliance with regulatory significance. While the PhRMA Code is not law, the OIG has referenced it explicitly in its guidance as a benchmark for evaluating the educational versus commercial purpose of speaker programs. Adherence to the code supports a good faith argument against anti-kickback statute violations. Non-adherence weakens it substantially. Corporate integrity agreements, CIAs. Companies settling DOJ/OIG investigations related to promotional misconduct are frequently required to implement formal PhRMA Code compliance as a condition of the settlement, making code adherence legally enforceable for those companies for the duration of the CIA, typically 5 years. State gift laws. Several states, Vermont, Minnesota, Massachusetts, California, Nevada, have enacted gift disclosure laws or prohibited certain transfers of value from pharma companies to HCPs that may be stricter than the PhRMA Code. Reps must know their state-specific requirements in addition to the federal framework. Company policies as the operative standard. Most pharmaceutical companies adopt internal policies that are stricter than the PhRMA Code baseline: lower meal caps, shorter speaker program runs, stricter venue requirements. Reps are accountable to company policy, not just the PhRMA Code minimum. Quarter end, I pull up the event summary in agentforce. 6 speaker programs, 4 lunch and learns, 2 nurse-in services. Marcus ran 3 round tables and 2 journal clubs. What did all of that actually accomplish? Here's what I measure and what I can't measure. What I track for promotional events: reach, how many unique HCPs attended across all programs, 41 physicians, 12 NPs, 8 nurses. Prescriber profile, were these high-decile prescribers physicians already familiar with immunonco, or new-to-brand physicians I was trying to convert? Post-event prescribing, did physicians who attended a speaker program show a new start rate different from those who didn't? Agentforce correlates event attendance with territory RX data. Correlation, not causation, but a signal. Compliance close rate, 100%. Every event closed with a complete record. Every sign-in sheet retained. Every expense documented. 0 deviations unresolved. What Marcus tracks for MSL events? HCP reported insights. How many medical insights of quality were captured? Not attendance numbers. Insight quality. Follow-up requests generated. How many physicians requested additional scientific exchange, data packages, or clinical trial referrals? What neither of us tracks? A rep cannot measure MSL event outcomes to assess commercial impact. An MSL cannot use prescribing data to evaluate whether round tables are working. The scorecard is separate. The metrics are separate. The agentforce dashboards are separate. Events are not just compliant when they're planned correctly. They're compliant when they're evaluated correctly too. Promotional event metrics. Key performance indicators for rep-run field events include HCP reach, unique attendees by credential type, prescriber profile, new-to-brand vs, existing prescribers, post-event prescribing correlations, and compliance completion rate, documentation, expense reporting, sign-in sheet retention, post-event prescribing correlation. CRM analytics can correlate speaker program attendance with subsequent prescribing patterns at the individual HCP level, a legitimate commercial insight. This correlation must be interpreted carefully, attendee selection bias, concurrent field activity, and cannot be the primary justification for running events, which must be educational. MSL event metrics. Scientific exchange events are measured differently from promotional events. Quality and volume of clinical insights captured, follow-up scientific exchange, requests generated, clinical trial referrals, or IIS submissions triggered. Attendance numbers are a secondary metric for MSL events. Firewall in metrics and reporting. Commercial teams cannot access MSL event outcome data to assess commercial impact, and MSLs cannot access prescribing data to evaluate whether their scientific exchange is influencing treatment patterns. The measurement frameworks are deliberately separate to maintain the medical commercial firewall. Compliance metrics as primary. Regulatory and compliance teams track event quality metrics separately: program completion rates, documentation accuracy, deviation frequency, and audit findings. For field teams, a 100% compliance close rate is a foundational performance indicator alongside commercial outcomes.